Next one is about supply chain risk management. I start with one example. In 2016 or 17, a routine inspection was going in the Department of Defense in US, and the going on the servers of Department of Defense. During that routine inspection, a chip of the size of rice particle was found there. That was an Intel server, and that chip was communicating with some server in China. So when they tried to find out the make, it was an Intel server, but when they traced the supply chain, it was made in China server. So supply chain is the network of all the individuals, organizations, resources, activities, and technology involved in creation and sale of product, from the delivery of source materials, from the supplier to the manufacturer, through to its eventual delivery to the end users. Like, for example, you are here in this class, correct? You have not contacted me directly. Khushi or Isha was in touch with you. She is the one who convinced you, okay? And then you got enrolled. There is a software, Protecte software available, which I'm using it. We both are using it. I am giving you a training. So all these things are part of supply chain. So you have to ensure that supply chain risk management is not compromised. Supply chain is not compromised. It's a process to help identify, monitor, detect, and mitigate threats to supply chain continuity and profitability. Supply chain compromise can occur anywhere within the supply chain, whereby an adversary jeopardizes the CIA of a system. It can occur anywhere within a SDLC or a product or services. Like you have seen in our example, in the example which I shared it with you, okay, they have compromised the supply chain. So risk associated with the supply chain. You can have counterfeit hardware or hardware with embedded malware. You have seen this. The example that I've given you, that I've discussed it with you, is a perfect example of that. Poor information security practices by lower tier suppliers. Like, for example, we do work with a lot of third-party suppliers. We perform an audit on a regular basis. Sometimes we come across suppliers are not good or not up to the standard of my organizations. So there could be, it can induce a risk for us. Software security vulnerability in supply chain management or supply systems, or if you have purchased a compromised software hardware purchased from suppliers. In India, an advisory has been issued to not purchase. There are vendors made in China vendors. Okay, it is advised, especially for government suppliers and defense suppliers, to not use because they are compromised. How you can ensure protection? Look at the supplier capabilities, do regular audits, look at the products. There are evaluation criteria available. Look at their logistics, control access to the product in transit. You can look as a part of an audit. I do check that I do ask my auditor to explain me the complete process, and then I can, based on that, I can look at the security at each and every steps, and definitely the operation product controls. What is third party? A third party is a company that is not under the direct business control of the organization that engages it. A third party relationship is any business arrangement between a company and another entity by contract or otherwise. Like I work with Simply Learn. I'm a third party for them. I'm not on a payroll of them. So they have a contract with me. Organizations are increasingly outsourcing systems because in 1990s, with that digital arrangements and all, okay, organizations have started outsourcing because they wanted to focus more on their core businesses. Okay, core businesses. Like if you talk about Unilever is their business's product. Why they should be working on maintaining and managing the SOC or NOC or any security? So they outsource it. So when you outsource it, you have to have a process in place, plan in place to make sure that the third parties are managed properly. Because when you outsource it, you give them your data, and you have to have arrangements and contracts in place with the help of which you can ensure that they're keeping your data safe. Like, for example, I'm an employer of BT. I give my Aadhaar card number, PAN number to BT for payroll. And now, if BT gives it to some third party for processing, if something wrong happened with the other party, then who will be held responsible? I will ask BT, not that company. So that's why you should have a plan in place. So third party risk you have, information security of data privacy. The company, at the other hand, they don't have a proper controls to protect the data. Business continuity. In 2015, you must have heard about Zscaler. Zscaler is a security as a service. They provide proxy services. So BT have a contract with Zscaler for proxy services to their customers. And as it was a new company, so every now and then there was an outage. And who used to get bashing from the customer? We. Why every now and then your services are down? Financial viability. Okay, so you have given a business to a company and that company goes out of the business. Like not out of the business, this happened. In 2014, Cisco has acquired some company, ScanSafe, in competition to Zscaler proxy services they provide. Cisco is a strategic partner of BT. We have given a contract and we start selling the services. Bullshit. They have stopped their services after a year. We were in fix. Big problem. This is just an example. Like Ford has left beat India. Now the people who have Ford automatically their their end of their services, everything which went into tank. Then contract compliances. So contract compliances, I just give you one example here. So in 2004, we have a platform through which we access our customer devices. Okay, we have a platform through which we access our customer devices. And that platform is ISO 27001 certified. We got a contract from IAG, International Airline Groups. So we were about to onboard, provision their devices on our platform so that we can access that in a standard manner. But they said, no, stop it. Get this certified or get a separate platform built up for my devices. I won't allow you to provision my devices on this platform. So yes, contract compliances can sometimes be a problem. Legal or regulatory, they don't have a necessary licenses to operate. So these are some of the risks available. So how you can handle those risks? I would say on-site assessments, periodic audits, on-site assessment, that is one of the best things to deal with third-party reviews. So the type of third-party relationships, in-source activity performed by organization own staff, outsource activity performed by vendor staff, hybrid performed jointly by staff from both the organization and the vendor, on-site staff working on-site in the IT department, off-site staff working from remote locations in the same geographical area, offshore staff working from remote locations in the different geographical area. So when we talk about outsourcing, you have to ensure, you have to make a list about falling act functions which should not be outsourced, like core functions of the organization. Okay, like simply they have outsourced the training functionality, but sales and all that, it is sales, support, everything is with them. Roles that require specific out expertise procedure that cannot be replicated externally or anywhere else. Okay, outsourcing can be done if only following applies. The function can be carried out by other party to the same level of quality or better at the same price or lower without increasing risk. An organization has sufficient experience in managing third party working on its behalf. So steps for outsourcing: define the functions to be outsourced, that what function you want to outsource. Like these days, if you pick up, it's very easy to start a training company these days, correct? What you need is a contact, two, three people, okay, two, three people or four people, marketing, sales, and operation people, and have a based on your contract, be based on your contact, pick up a contract and hire a trainer, post it on the internet, hire a trainer, give some money to a trainer, and you're done. So define a SLA, the service level agreement. What is service level agreement? It is the level of service that has been agreed to provide it to the customer. Like you must have taken an internet services, like internet will be available for this much time, this much will be the speed. If there is an issue, we will be resolving that issue within this much time. Yep, that is SLAs. Determine the cost, conduct the due diligence properly, and confirm contractual regulatory requirement for outsourcing. Because sometimes what happen is you are not allowed to outsource those things. In 2012, there was when India SOC of BT was established. Okay, before that, the Sydney SOC was established. But later on, Sydney SOC was like only restricted to managing healthcare data because there is a law regulation where healthcare data of Australian citizen has to be processed within the physical boundaries of the country. So that are some of the things. So factors to be considered during that, like you should have requirement for achievable outputs, that what you want to achieve. Right to audit is very important because how will you see that whether they are the outsourcing partners, they're doing their job proper. Intellectual property rights. What are intellectual property? Patents, trademark. I will cover that next week. Patents, trademarks. So those also have to be considered. Just like I am uh, working on content development for CompTIA Security Plus 701 for simply learn. So I have set up a contract. Once the slides are completed, it's their copyright, and I shouldn't be able to use it without their permissions. BCP and DR, okay, CIA requirement, confidential integrity, and availability requirements of it. So, what is your role in it? To review the contracts at the service level at periodic intervals, to review documented procedures and outcomes of a quality assurance program, that you have to look at whether they are doing their job properly and they comply with organization quality standards or not. So what is SLAs? SLAs are service level agreement, which is like the level of services that has been agreed to provide it to the customers. Remember one thing, that there are another thing which we call in the operational level agreement. Okay, let's take an example. Suppose this is customer. This is service desk. If customer comes up with some issue, they will contact service desk, correct? So here the SLA will come into action. Now there are internal teams like network operations center, security operations center, and then you have Windows team. So now, so the SLAs between service desk and NOC or internal teams is called OLA, that is operational level agreement. Operational level agreement. Okay. SLAs can be defined for incident response, incident resolutions. Response means within how much time we will respond to your incident, for resolutions, SLAs, reviews, investigations, etc. This is very important thing. Right to audit. In the context of information security, the right to audit refers to the contractual clause that allows one party to examine the practice of another party related to information security. So this is very, very important. If this contract or right to audit is not signed, then will not allow you to perform an audit. They can simply uprightly deny that. So in a cloud, especially in a cloud like AWS Azure, right to audit is not properly given. So purpose of right to audit, it ensures that audit is transparent about the information security practices and accountable. You can do the verification whether the information security controls which are verified, which are mentioned, they are being implemented effectively. It helps you in achieving compliances. Impact of privacy laws on outsourcing. Yes, just like in Europe, not in Europe, in China and in Russia. Okay, in China, in Russia, you cannot take the data of their citizens out of their country, physical boundaries of the country. You have to process it there. Similarly, in Europe, we have a GDPR. Okay, in GDPR, suppose there are two things in GDPR. If you are processing suppose there is a subsidiary organization, BT. Okay, BT has office in Europe and office in India. So if they want to process any data of European citizen, okay, in India center, then there is a binding corporate rules, which are like certain rules applicable to that processing. Similarly, if BT have a partner in India, okay, like Wipro, and Wipro is processing a data, then there's another set of rules or provision called standard contractual clauses will be applicable. So what I'm trying to say is when you're outsourcing it as a security professional, you should have a knowledge about outsourcing. You should have a knowledge about the privacy laws. Like, for example, when BT set up center in Sydney, BT has a center in Sydney. Yes, and it was there since 2011. Okay. So they were aware of that, and it has been set up locally over there because there is a requirement by an Australian government that healthcare data should be processed within the physical boundaries. So I cannot specify or mention specifically some privacy law over here, but when you are looking at outsourcing in your organization as a security manager, you should look at the privacy laws applicable to that industry, applicable to that region to, to find out the impact of those local laws on the regulations or on the outsourcing. I will cover some regulations with you, the generic one, so that you can have an idea, especially the privacy and intellectual property. I will be covering it with you. So you as a security professional needs to know the regulations, the privacies, regulations and all that you need to comply with. What is subcontracting? Subcontracting is like I remember I take one batch for Wells Fargo. So it was HP contract. HP has taken a contract from Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo has passed it on to Protecte Academy, and then I take a batch on Protecte Academy for HPE. So Protecte Academy here is a sub-service provider. Similarly, like BT is a is a MSP for the customers, the contractor for the customer. And BT has given the contract to whom? To Zscaler for providing. So BT here is now says Zscaler is a sub-service provider. So if you are using a sub-service provider, please make sure that this is properly audited, managed, and controlled. Otherwise, you will be in big problem because of this subcontracting. These days, be it ISO, be it SOC 2, it is there mentioned about you have to, there's a clause where you have to talk about these subcontractors. Then documentation, you have to keep it. So like the types of documentation you need to keep, risk registers, asset inventory that I've already showcased it to you, risk mitigations and action plans, and results of risk monitoring. So that covers this domain, this part of it. Next week, I will cover BCP DR. Okay, a good topic. Then I will take you through compliance. Okay, then after that, TCP/IP. So this is my third week, correct? TCP/IP. Okay, this is then technical devices. There are different technologies. Okay, fourth week. Fifth week is encryption. Okay, so this is how we will proceed. So domain 2 slides are there. BCPDL, first time covering this non-technical stuff with you. Okay, and along with that, I will cover data classification. Okay, so BCP DR compliance and your compliances and data classification that I will cover. And here I will cover TCP IP technical controls. So this is pretty very technical in nature. So again, next week is not a technical one, but yes, this is all important. When we talk about security, security is not about technical things. It's all about your procedural things because you implement firewall, correct? But you have to manage and maintain the firewall. And for that, you require a process. So it's a mix and match of everything. Hope you are getting the feel of a security.